the theory of plate tectonics, the Earth's lithosphere is broken up into different faults, which are called plates. The different plates move slowly relative to each other. In fact, plates move as fast as your fingernail grows, which is about 5 centimeters a year. They move because of convection currents in the mantle.
There are different interactions among individual plates along the plate boundaries. There are 3 different types of boundaries: divergent boundaries, convergent boundaries, and transform fault boundaries. The person who discovered these boundaries is Alfred Wagner when he was researching continental drift.
Divergent boundaries form when 2 plates are moving away from each other. Since the boundaries form when 2 plates move away from each other, scientists call them spreading centers. Most of the spreading centers are located in mid-ocean ridges, and these plates act like constructive plate boundaries for forming new land.
When divergent boundaries form on land, they form rift valleys. These rift valleys, in a way, split the continent in half. At the same time, plumes of magma rise to the surface, bending the crust upward. The fracture in the crust allows magma to flow to the surface, creating active volcanoes.
When divergent boundaries form underwater, they create mid-ocean ridges. They are very similar to rift valleys, except when the magma from the plumes rises up to the surface, new land is created. This is because when the magma rises up to the surface, it is immediately hardened from the water.
When there's a convergent boundary, there are many formations such as trenches, volcanoes, and mountain ranges. Convergent boundaries form when 2 different plates collide. One plate moves on top of the other and one slides under the one that's on top. Usually it's between the oceanic and continental plates. The oceanic lithosphere slides under the continental lithosphere because it's more dense. When it slides under some rock, heats up in the mantle and creates plumes under the continental plate.
The magma in the plume bends the continental crust upwards, creating the mountain ranges and sometimes volcanoes. These formations are called continental volcanic arcs. An example would be in San Francisco. When there is a convergent boundary between 2 continental plates, each continental plate has 2 lithospheric plates that are squished between each other. The continental plate sits on top of the oceanic plate, as shown right here. When 2 continental plates collide and form a convergent boundary, the denser oceanic plate slides under the less dense oceanic plate. While the 2 continental plates collide and form complex mountain ranges, there is no formation of volcanoes, but there are pockets of magma within the mountain which are called plumes. The heat and pressure that the plates create forms metamorphic rock within the mountain. An example would be the Himalayas in Asia.
When there are 2 oceanic plates on a convergent boundary, just like the others, the denser oceanic plate slides under the less dense oceanic plate. Just like the other types of convergent boundaries, some of the rocks melt in the asthenosphere, creating magma pockets. Then they rise and bend the less dense plate upward and create a volcanic island arc. An example would be the Java Islands in the Indian Ocean. Transform fault boundaries are formed when 2 plates are grinding against each other without destroying the lithosphere. Most transform faults join 2 segments of a mid-ocean ridge. There are places, though, that have transform fault boundaries that are on 2 continental plates, such as the San Andreas Fault in North America. With part of the Pacific plate, if this motion continues, part of California would be an island.
Hotspots occur when there is a mass hotter than normal mantle that rises near the surface. These masses of abnormally hot mantle are called plumes, which were mentioned earlier. Once the plumes rise near the surface, they start to bend the surface upwards, creating hotspots. In a way, hotspots are volcanoes. An example of a hotspot would be Hawaii, USA.